Well, what's up guys, it's New, and yeah, this is exactly the video you were hoping for. I'm going to be going over the brand new Warden Ascendancy for our beloved Ranger class. Elemental ailments abound, unbound actually, now that I think about it. And we're going to be pitting her against the former glory of the Deadeye, which got a little bit of a nerf, but that's okay. And how all of this ties together in the context of my proposed League starter, Elemental Hit of the Spectrum. So yes, right off the top, TLDR, I'm going to be sticking with Elemental Hit of the Spectrum. I think it's going to be a fantastic League starter. I'm not really sure why everyone is abandoning bows, even people who would never abandon bows. But for whatever reason, they think melee's actually good now. I think they got another thing coming, to be honest, because, I don't know, you could probably buff melee 1,000% and it still wouldn't have quite the efficiency of a true build like Elemental Hit of the Spectrum. But which Ascendancy should we be running? Should we be running the new Deadeye, which got knocked down a peg, or this interesting new Ascendancy that somehow, some way seems to have been tailor-made for a trifecta elemental hit-based class? Really weird. I went into the reveal patch notes figuring it would be worse than better. You know, maybe the Elemental Hit of the Spectrum gem nerfed a bit, not buffed. Maybe Mana Forge arrows deleted, or cast on crit stuff gone. Mana Forge arrows cast on crit gone. I don't know. I expected something bad to come out, but no. Instead, I get buffs to my build and a brand new Ascendancy to maybe do. I suppose I did get nerfed in terms of a Deadeye version of the Ascendancy. But anyway, you're going to know exactly where I stand at the end of this video. We're going to try to keep things fairly short. There is a super comprehensive PoE in here, the most comprehensive I've ever built. I think this is going to be the best League starter I've ever made, Deadeye or Warden for that matter. And feel free to check the description to rip that PoE off and do with it what you will. I sometimes hide these things up to League start, but I'm just bringing it out, laying it out all over the table. I'm not really going to be focusing much on the other 4 proposed League starters I was planning, but I think they're all in fairly decent shape, except for the champion. I don't think the champion fared well in everything that happened, but everything else seems to be okay. So just right off the top, let's go with the Deadeye first and see what happened to our poor girl here. We had a nerf to Gathering Winds, not quite 20% action speed anymore, a bit less. That's okay. We'll be all right. It's still good. Hey, movement speed's king, action speed's king. Even a little bit is good. On the flip side, Windward got buffed to hell and back. Oh my god, this is a dark horse pick for me every time. I chose Windward last league. I wish I had the new buffed version this time. Guys, this is like actually the strongest defensive Ascendancy in the whole freaking game, on a technicality at least. And oh my god, can't believe how good this is. I may just Forbidden Flame flush this sucker. That's so good. Nah, probably not, but you know, I mean, who cares about defense anyway? Alright, next we got Far Shot. Not Far Shot anymore, except it still is Far Shot, but not actually Far Shot. But it's still named Far Shot, but doesn't technically Far Shot because you can get Far Shot in somewhere else, so I'm not really sure what's going on here. But yeah, apparently you can get double Far Shot. Baby Far Shot? Baby Far Shot and Biggie Far Shot. I feel like I'm playing cards again. Alright, well, Far Shot now just grants you up to 30% more damage to targets. Functions pretty much the same way, just doesn't have the downside, doesn't have quite as much upside. Then we got Endless Munitions, unchanged. Whatever the hell this is, unchanged. And we got a brand new, oh yeah, Focal Point unchanged. Now a brand new Ascendancy Point, which sucks. Or is at least not really that valid for anything I would ever do. I'm not an accuracy stacker or a frenzy charge stacker ever, so don't know, don't care. Pathfinder, I don't think anything was changed. At least nothing serious was changed there. Still a very strong Ascendancy, obviously. Then we got the Warden. Now, let's go over the Warden, and let's start off with things that I don't care about, like defenses. We got Bark Skin, and I'm going all-in evasion, no armor, so this makes no sense for me to take. It only makes sense if you're actually hybridizing your defenses there, I believe. And then, yeah, you can just double down on it a bit with going deeper into it. Then we got tincture stuff, which the Warden has been made around tinctures, but very hefty penalty for bow build Warden stuff is that you have to pay an entire Ascendancy point just to unlock tinctures. So, I mean, you can sacrifice a whole Ascendancy to go this route. Really makes me unlikely to want to do it. People have said this before, and I think they're right. I mean, if tinctures are like God's gift to PoE players, okay, maybe I will. Okay, maybe I'll abandon all of this to the left and go tinctures, but I don't think so, guys. I mean, what, +2 proj, I guess, and all lightning damage, poisons, and things like that. That doesn't really fit what I'm doing. And, you know, I'm not tornado shot build. There's not shotgunning going on. I don't really care that much about it. But what I do care about is elemental ailments, because I'm running a trifecta elemental hit-based build. Elemental hit the Spectrum, aka. Let's go over the very first one, which if I was leveling as a warden, I would do Oath of Summer, because that is a double scorch, -60% up to 60% elemental resistances to enemies. Whoa, you'd have to hit pretty hard for that to happen, though. Do keep that in mind. But hey, there's more than one way to hit hard. Then we got Avatar of the Wilds, which is the super strong damage ascendancy point, 80% more damage with a 50 to, I guess, a half to 2/3 uptime. For me, it'll probably be about 2/3 because, well, I'm just good at the game. So I can make this about 2/3 uptime. I'll show you guys how. Don't worry. And then we're going to go with Oath of the Winter because, hey, wait a minute. This is like exactly what I'm doing with my build thematically. What is up with this? It's almost like somebody looked at my build and they were like, hey, what if we had players freeze enemies permanently in maps? Wouldn't that be cool? And they just give it to you? And I don't even know what to think. I have mixed feelings about this because it's actually kind of redundant for my build. At least if I overgear the content. If I undergear the content, this is really good. So I'm excited for this ascendancy point. As it pertains to trying to break into content that I'm not necessarily ready for. Like if I take my little 5 divine budget elemental hit of the Spectrum precise technique build into the item level 84 cluster farm and can kind of make it work. It's pretty frustrating, but maybe make it work. I showcased that a while back. Well, whatever monsters I failed to freeze before are going to get frozen now. I don't even need the Hoarfrost. I just need 2 seconds of freeze. That's so ridiculous. I don't know what this is. Too powerful, yet kind of redundant for my build. I have mixed feelings about it. It begs you to not hit all that hard and hit really, really often. But you still have to meet the freeze threshold. Do keep that in mind. You must still hit that 0.3 second freeze threshold, which is not that easy on a random build. Oath of Spring, much like its other counterpart of Winter, also requires you to hit very frequently. It transforms shock from something that required you to hit really hard to get max shock effect to hit very frequently and try to increase the duration of elemental ailments, which is pretty easy when they give you a whole bunch of amazing small nodes here. I'm getting Pathfinder vibes with these small nodes, guys. I mean, these are amazing. Increased duration of freeze and shocks with this kind of setup. Dude, that's some nice... Whoever designed the small nodes, kudos to you. You actually designed some really good small nodes. A lot of the Ascendancy small nodes are garbage. Not very good, including the Deadeye. Kind of, eh. All right, anyway, enough of that. We got maximum effective shock is 2% increased damage taken. I assume you still maybe have to hit the 5% threshold to drive it into 2%, just like you have to hit the 0.3 second threshold to get the 2 second freeze. I could be wrong. Maybe you only need to hit a 2% threshold, which is like you got to breathe on the enemy with static electricity, and you're going to hit that threshold, okay? So really easy. And I mean, if you're wearing these, well then, yeah, literally just breathe on the enemy. And that's going to trigger a shock, and you go up to 50 times, and it has a 2 second duration, so those shocks are going to go up and fall off instantly. Well, unless you know, got a little bit of shock duration here. 3.6 seconds, not too terribly bad. There are some creative ways to extend the duration of shock, like Defiled Forces Anoint. I'm not cursing anything, though, like that, so it's not going to work here for me, at least not with this variant of the build. But you could also just, you know, kill more faster and hit more efficiently. You could just do that. And if you want to know what that looks like, well, just watch a Lightning Strike of Arcing build, I guess, because that's the only one that can do this, or at least, you know, that's the impression I'm getting. It's not like a Ranger can hit really often all over the place, right? Am I right, guys? Am I right? Come on. What are we even talking about? Get out of here with that. Ranger's better. Get out of here. Whoever thinks melee is going to do. Guys, 4 ballistas. Focus ballistas. If you don't like ballistas, fine. You got Mana Forge, Life Tap, Rain of Arrows of Saturation, Mana Forge, Storm Rain, Blast Rain. You could do it on multiple links. You got Cast on Crit. Pick your spell, okay? Whatever spell you want. Fast attacking, fast hitting spell, lightning orb, I don't know. You really think a ranger isn't going to outclass a lightning strike character on hitting stuff ultra frequently, screen wide, off screen by the way? Yeah, I don't know what people are talking about. This is going to be a joke for this class. It's going to be up all the time. Maybe I won't have max stacks on this specific character for a couple reasons. But certainly the evolved form into crit, gonna have no problem. So for anyone who's sitting here thinking, man, I'm thinking about doing Element of the Spectrum, Snoo's really onto something here, but I don't know if it hits hard enough. Look how hard and how frequently these claw characters hit. Man, how it's gonna do? Guys, no. Stop it. Gonna be fine. Now you still have to hit hard with this one, which my character does, thankfully. Especially when running a Heat Shiver. Which is very, very good for this node. I'm prioritizing cold and freeze, and then I'm getting a whole bunch of cold as extra fire. It's going to make my scorches between Heat Shiver and Pain Seeker in there. This is going to be max or super close to max. In fact, Shocks are very, very happy about that. The other three require you to hit very, very frequently, which a bow build has no problem doing if you set up the character accordingly. What do I mean? Artillery Ballista, Rain of Arrows of Saturation, a life tap. You can do a lot more than this. This is the weakest setup in that respect. I still hit 8 times a second with Element of his Spectrum. 4 attacks a second there and back. So, you know, we're gonna hit something like 12 times a second there. It's gonna be easy. All right, it's gonna be easy. At least in optimal condition. At least. But we're also gonna clear amazingly well because we're a freaking bow build. All right. Need I say more? So that's where we're at on this. I think that I'm going to absolutely excel on all of these. I think the Oath of the Winter is going to be such overkill once I outgear content that I may actually try the tincture thing. I'm not sure, but I will probably just like it for tenacity purposes, I guess. Just to have it, just so I can just make sure nothing's ever not frozen. I don't even need the Hoarfrost on here. Guys, every single one of those ballista hits and arrows of saturations will also proc Hoarfrost on top of that when I'm already barely need any help at all freezing anything permanently for only 0.3 second freezes. It's going to be a joke how much freeze is going to go out. It's going to be an utter joke. I'm more worried about it, the overkill effect, than I am about this not being good or something. I do think the shock will be interesting. I'm most excited to see how this pans out. I'm predicting I won't have a problem keeping max shock effect, especially with later iterations of the build. But I can always put in more Mana Forge links, obviously. And then this will be cool. I don't like how I have to toggle it. But yeah, can you tell? I'm pretty excited about this Ascendancy, the Warden. People keep asking me, Snoo, you're going to go Warden, right? You're going to go Warden, right? What about the Warden? Tell us about the Warden. What are you planning to do? Yeah, we're going to do Warden, guys. But we're not going to level as Warden. I have decided to not do that. The reason why? Rain of Arrows is going to be the best leveling gem, I'm afraid. Lightning Arrow got scuffed for its initial early phase. The flat lightning was removed from the gem. Higher effective damage, but that doesn't help very much at League start. Explosive Concoction looks amazing this time. 20% more damage with the Scorch thing would be unbelievably strong. Explosive Concoction will just instantly max proc this Oath of Summer wheel, but you don't get that until Act 3. And I'm going to plan to have Elemental Hit the Spectrum very early in the campaign anyway. So I'm going to start with Galvanic Arrow, and I'm going to move down just the way we always do. So just real quick, running down here. Rain of Arrows swap around this time. Very typical looking stuff here, guys. Leveling. Elemental Hit the Spectrum sometime in the back half of the campaign. Maybe Act 6, 7, hopefully by then. And then Ascendancy swap. So the Deadeye is just going to be better because, you know, while this is strong, the Scorch is not going to work very well for Rain of Arrows. One little copy of Rain of Arrows while leveling. But you know what? Tailwind's always going to be good, and Mini Far Shot is also going to be very good. So I'm going to stick with those. And then the third Ascendancy, which is, as you guys know, Act 10, assuming you do it before Katava. We're going to make the swap there, and I hear that respecking is going to be cheaper than ever because of gold and stuff. So I'm taking a little bit of a risk there with respecs in the middle of all this and respecking Ascendancy points. Worst case scenario, we just stick with Deadeye a little longer. It's still great. It's still great Ascendancy. And get endless munitions, right? Speaking of endless munitions, people ask me, hey, Snoo, what about endless munitions? We're going to lose endless munitions. I already have 5 arrows with endless munition. I would have 3 now, and then I decided probably should get additional arrow on the bow, okay? 3 projectiles is not the end of the world, by the way. A lot of damage coming in all different places. Would still have pretty good clear, even with just 3 projectiles on Elemental Hidden Spectrum. I don't think running greater GMP is going to be a good idea on this build, especially with return projectiles on there. Now we've got the final iteration of build, no crit version. This is a snapshot at the end. This is the official build guide, or what will be. This video is not the official build guide, but this is what will be the official. We got some brand new wheels here. For some weird reason, the Ranger tree just got way stronger with free reservation efficiency over here. Easier, more convenient mana mastery with actually good notes. With reduced cost of attacks. Don't even feel bad about running unique helmets anymore. And we got like the strongest crit wheel in the whole game here too, with bleeds, which is easy to proc with Rain of Arrows when I go for bleed later. That's crazy strong. And the double inspired learning setup is looking to be real juicy. I got some really cool stuff. Take a look into this POB. I'm now running, I am actually running these boots, not as a meme, guys. Not as a meme. Now that Scorch is in play, we're going to be scaling enemies take increased damage. I got the number all the way well over 300% increased damage taken, all things considered, okay? That's things like Bone Chill, the Quiver, the Freeze Mastery, the Double Scorch, the Insane Shock, penetration, elemental penetration like this, cold penetration over here, and then elemental weakness, frostbite, conductivity. We're getting, oh, we're just going nuts, guys, on the minus, because normally we can't do that because we always do this mastery, right? We flip the elemental res down, so we can't really do all of that. It doesn't make sense to. Well, it does now. If we're going to get the Scorch thing, that absolutely makes sense to do it. So it's a lot of fun. We're going to basically be playing this as if I'm playing a dot build in terms of scaling the damage. Yeah, but anyway, I also have the Headhunter version basically done. This is with a brutal restraint, a massive wheel, and some clusters that are pretty good. And then with the Headhunter involved, this is somewhere around 200, 300, maybe 400 divine budget. I'm not exactly sure. There it is. But that should prove to be really, really, really strong. These damage numbers are quite excessive at 90 mil for the Headhunter version. That's with 3 integer points on of the Spectrum with Return Proj plus Tornado, which could hit up to 4 times on the way back, but probably an average around 3 times. And because remember, Elemental of the Spectrum AoEs when it hits. And then, you know, the crit version is also going to be an impressive amount of damage, 56 mil here. And guys, you can double check the POB. There's no funny business here unless you really don't think I'm going to get 100 shocks and or whatever. I mean, this is all up to snuff. And again, if you're wondering, if for some reason you're wondering why 3 is here, that's return projectiles enchanted on the weapon now. And that's a tornado off cast on crit that, yes, even without chain, will result in AoEing through the hits there and back. So actually, it's probably 4 integers, at least in optimal conditions, but maybe not super reliable. And then the, again, the no crit version, this is going to represent more what a newer player should go for. Again, I'm trying to carefully craft these things. Yeah, that's a lot of uniques. I don't really understand people who say uniques are scary or bad or non-representative of new player friendly. Guys, I have a lot, but for the lifetime of me playing PoE, it was always a lot easier for me to get uniques like this that are pretty common and easy to get, as opposed to crafting rares when I have no idea how to craft them. Or trying to somehow make sense of a guide that only has 3 affixes and still I craft an item with 5 affixes and I don't know if they're good or not, whatever. It doesn't make any sense to me. Or what fracture do I buy? Way more variables involved in rares and crafting. I don't like it. I prefer cheap, easy uniques. It keeps things very simple and fairly easy to obtain on trade. For SSF, SOL. I don't know. I'm not an SSF player. Sorry. 12 million DPS there, mostly in the Ballista, but still about 5 mil on the Elemental Hidden Spectrum with a Return Proj and Far Shot enchanted on the weapon in this case. It looks like the enchants are pretty easy to do. I assume they're going to be available. You know, it's not like Far Shot's not going to be available on bows. Obviously, it will be. But anyway, that's it. That's going to conclude the video. It's a little bit of a TLDR. The POB is in really good shape right now. I mean, you can pretty much take it to the bank. I might change a few other things. But yeah, take a look at it, dig through it, criticisms, whatever you want, as long as they're fair. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the Warden Ascendancy. And let me know what you think about League starting Elemental Hit the Spectrum and switching over to a Warden and how you think that's going to go. Let me know if you're going to do it. All right, that's it for now. I'm going to come out with some more videos. I'm obviously going to be working on this to come out with an official build guide fairly soon, but more videos to come. So subscribe, follow if you want, because, yep, more coming your way. That's it for now, guys. I'll see you in the next video.